And I am really looking forward to see how this game turns out. Let's get this thing started. And again, Legendary is a Chinese Protoss player. And he is the only non-Korean to make it to the Final Four, which is a very good reason as to why they need to put StarCraft on TV everywhere so that we will stop losing so bad, all the non-Koreans at these WCG events. Now we see down here, we see that I Love OOV, the player with literally the best macro in the world, and that is not just my opinion. Many people have said that. He will be starting down here at the southern location on the map. At the top will be Legendary. Now notice the locations of the two players on this map is going to make it basically, these are the two farthest spots possible from each other on the map. This means that rushes are not very viable. Cheese rushes are viable, though, because of the lack of expectation of a rush, logically. We now see he is pulling this probe off here, going to build a pylon. And we will now see that Terran, Terran will make a supply depot. As we all know, this is the very first few minutes of StarCraft, and it usually looks the same. So we haven't seen anything out of the ordinary that would imply any kind of proxy gate, proxy barracks, any kind of cheese rush of that sort. My expectation for this game, and it very well may not turn out that way, is that I believe both players will probably end up expanding rather early. And the only other possibility would be some kind of hidden tech. This has actually been very popular, especially foreigners being non-Koreans, because this is StarCraft lingo here. I have seen a lot of players doing hidden techs. Hidden techs. They hide the tech over here in this region on the map. If you look down here on the mini map, that's where I am. Barracks now going up for I Love OOV as well as the refinery. This matchup is a little bit unique in the sense that both players, really early game units, Marines and Zealots, neither are, how can I articulate this? Neither lead you in to a safe mid-game stance. So generally both players ignore each other at the start and tech, especially since usually good players can out-micro a rush. Unless there are extenuating circumstances that were affecting the game. We now see I Love OOV actually scouting before Legend. Now, that is kind of unusual. Normally the Protoss scouts a little bit before the Terran does, but in this case, I think, and this is something we've kind of learned about the player Legend, is that he seems to be very comfortable doing his build regardless of the locations. And I also want to point out that Legend is scouting in an unorthodox pattern. He is scouting the closest spot to him by air. Not by ground, which is kind of it's not bad. It's just different, and obviously different styles can throw people off. OOV about to find his opponent, and Legend about to find out that his opponent is not here anymore. Going back down to OOV's base, we see that a factory is coming in over here. And we also see that, and this could be a feint. It is possible sometimes they fake and go air attack and then cancel when the scout is gone. But it looks like Legendary is going to be going for Dragoon range. And this is, again, this is all by the book. The only thing that was a little bit unorthodox here was the fact that the Protoss player scouted so late. And I believe the reason for this. And I could be wrong. And you know what? You remember how I said we might see hidden tech over here? I think that's what we're going to see right now. And, I think it is. I mean, whenever he makes the pylon there, we're going to find out. Right now, OOV, he didn't, this point in time, with the exception of the fact that, he did actually have 3 pylons in his base, excuse me. OOV is not going to really see anything out of the ordinary. But note that the Terran player OOV is actually quite prepared to scout this sort of stuff, any kind of hidden tech, and is actually sending his Marine over here anyways. Well, as it turns out, I'm not quite sure what Legendary is doing with the probe right now. I thought he might be doing some kind of a hidden tech, but he's not. It does not appear that way. Instead, he's going to be going for fast Dragoon range, 2-gating over here. And perhaps expanding here, judging by the fact that there's a probe here at this expansion. It's not quite clear. And also note by the 1 kill over here, we can assume that the probe was killed by that vulture bike. These Dragoons are going to come out now and try to intercept this vulture bike. And we're going to see if he's actually able to stop it. The vulture bike being a very fast unit that hardly does any damage to buildings, but kills weaker units like probes very fast. So the goal here is actually to run by the Dragoon. There's no way a vulture bike can kill a Dragoon one-on-one. the Dragoon is just too tough. He will attempt to run by this Nexus, which has been blocked off by the Dragoon right now. The bike being deflected, he's bleeding right now. He has 5 life, and he will die. Not too much of a... it will not affect OOV too much, other than the fact that he already knows his opponent is expanding. And that is something... it's always better to stop your opponent from scouting you. If you can stop your opponent from scouting you, it really does make a big difference. Because many times your build and what you're making and what you're producing and what your strategy is entirely based off what you see your opponent doing. I mean, this is not a game where you can actually just sit back and build a bunch of guys and then go attack the other person. You have to play off the other player. It's like dancing. You have to keep up with each other, and you have to be reading each other constantly. And what we will see right now is that OOV is going to send out a whole bunch more bikes, planting a minefield in the way of the Dragoons. The Dragoons, the stronger units, but the bikes, the faster ones, and also capable of planting mines. 3 mines each per boon. We see a pylon wall off over here. That's pretty Gosu right there. Excellent way to stop these bikes from getting up here. That is what happens when really good people play StarCraft against each other. You will see cool techniques such as that, then canceling one and using this Dragoon to block it off. Now the problem here is that right now. Legendary cannot mine from these minerals over here. Instead, these bikes are actually killing. Well, not killing. I don't think they will be able to kill this expansion. But at least they're not being mined from. But however, Legendary, being the excellent player that he is, rather than running through the minefield and falling for the trap, he will instead go in there and he will attempt to pick off this command center. This means that neither player, as long as OOV can actually save this in time, it's up to the micro right now. All right, he did manage to save the command center. Another SCV is on the way down here to build it right now. And we will now see that both, okay, right now, the pivotal point right now is that both players are attempting to kill off each other's expansion. And you can see right now that both, wow, that was pretty close, man. Both actually managed to save their expansions right there. And that's pretty damn impressive, if you ask me, because I actually thought they were both going to lose it. So now we see an observer coming in here. The observer being the flying invisible guy that can see the mines. Right now, although we can see these mines, Legendary is actually not aware of their presence unless he sees the mine planted. Then what he actually has to do is he has to store the location of the mine in his memory. And remember, do not walk by here. Do not walk by here. And if this mine, okay, now we see the observers in here, as I was talking about earlier. These Dragoons will now come up here and attempt to pick off. Okay, now it looks like Oob is going to rush in here. The purpose of this tank is going to be to pick off this Nexus. However, the observer came out just in time. He was willing to sack this tank in the hopes that he might be able to shoot down this Nexus. As you can see, it only has 100 health. I believe 2 siege tanks blast would waste it. But wow, what a sad day for that tank indeed, as he got owned by Legendary's Dragoons. We now see the barracks lifting off. More and more and more factories being produced. Oob, known for having the best macro possibly in the world, and a Boxer's apprentice and best friend. Although, as I'm sure most of you know, Boxer has now joined the Korean military. There's a Korean military service required down there, and that is what he is serving right now. Although he has said he will come back and continue to play StarCraft after that, or at least he hopes to. Right now, OOV kind of stepping in his shoes, so to speak, and many people kind of expect him to win this tournament right now. And if I had to pick a Korean to win it, I would probably have my money on him as well. The observer right now scouting out the current locations of these of the siege tanks, seeing that OOV is once again expanding, and right now it looks like. Yes, it looks like Legendary has decided that at this moment he will attempt to come in here and pick off these tanks. Mines frantically being placed. Oob did, in fact, deflect that attack, and quite nicely. He did micro the bikes in front of the Dragoons, planting mines, forcing the Dragoons to either back up or face the consequences. Another Nexus coming up over here. Now both players are, this is kind of turning into a very macro-oriented game. After we saw that micro section of the game where both players were attempting to out-control each other with their units, it's entered another phase. And right now, that probe did die. We will now see that both players are going to sit back right now and macro. Now this game, this little landmass that we're seeing right over here, this is the only connecting, what's the word? Massive. This is the only connecting mass of land, the only bridge across to this side of the map. This black abyss right here, it does not connect. Nor does this one. So right now what OOV is doing is he's taking central control of the map, and this is something that almost all the good Terran players seem to do nowadays. They seem to position, they seem to push out here, and it's kind of, I've used this in my other casts too. It's kind of like when you have all of your chess pieces in the center of the board, you have more control of the map right now. And what we're going to see right now is Legendary macroing up right now, and both players will probably be, it'll probably be a static game for a little bit. You know, one of the difficult things about StarCraft is unlike Warcraft 3, nothing really functions by itself. You can't hotkey all of your buildings to one key. You know, nothing automatically. You know, the probes will not begin to mine immediately when they get off the Nexus. Everything it must be told. You have to continuously make pylons. You have to keep up with it, and it is very hard to do. And many of these StarCraft players, these two included, have actions per minute. There's actually a tool to measure this, by the way, so I'm not pulling this out of my ass or anything. But their actions per minute range at as high as 400 actions a minute. Literally 400 actions a minute. And I was watching OOV play against Draco earlier today, and I have to say he was playing very fast. It was very impressive. Now, this game is actually, this game was not, that I'm talking about now, was not casted, but OOV versus Draco, the game before this, which Draco barely lost. It was really close. It was a pretty tight game. This is the exact same scenario that I saw OOV in. He does a double expand, 2 command centers at both the mineral naturals, simply because this is also where he has tactical advantage on the map. He also opts to expand again over here while producing out of these 4 factories. Now, what is interesting to note, though, is that for you know, the weakness to this build is carriers. Okay, well, in my opinion, it's carriers. Legendary feels that it's arbiters, and you know, there's a lot of different ways to play this game, and we're going to see this game kind of unfold in a different way. In my opinion, the counter is carriers, and I was talking to Legionnaire about this earlier. Just because you don't have a gas expansion. This is the other resource in StarCraft, and this resource allows you to produce the units Goliaths. Goliaths being the primary defense against carriers. So basically, what we're going to see here is in this case, he's going to go for arbiters. Arbiters for the purpose of recalling inside of his base. Legendary dropping a few scouts. I mean, well, they're not scouts to unit, but they're zealots that are scouting. And what Legendary wants to see right now is how many expansions does my opponent have? Because Protoss can only expand, or knows how to expand based off how many expansions Terran has. So if you can effectively stop Terran from actually seeing how many expansions you have, well then it's very hard for Protoss to know if they're over-expanding or under-expanding, and that is the beauty of the game StarCraft. Now, as we can see, both players having a reasonable amount of units. As I said before, neither attacking each other. Right now we're entering a very heavy macro phase in this game, and you know, to be honest, this game is going to get out of control in a little bit here. As we can see, they're getting more and more money, more and more gateways produced, more and more factories produced, and it's really a question of, and this is actually something where I think I Love Oob, this is his specialty, and I believe this is why he has opted to do this sort of strategy right now. Okay, now we're seeing a shuttle over here. This will interfere with his opponent expanding. He's going to get that, and he will be able to get this command center right here, unless the bikes can get here in time. A wise decision would be to cancel, which he already did. Well, he just did. All right, now the units pick up and leave once again. Note another command center going on over here. See, basically the map is split in half because of this. And right now, Terran is expanding rapidly. The more money you get, the more units you can produce, and eventually you can just walk over the other person as long as you can micro correctly. So, right now, both players are doing everything within their power to prevent each other from doing this. I think Legendary is doing a little bit more of a superior job right now. The Chinese player Legendary doing a little bit more of a superior job of preventing his opponent from expanding. But oh my God, Uv really is actually taking like every expansion on the right side of the map. That's pretty intimidating, if you ask me. However, Legendary pretty much doing the same thing. You know, the difficulty right now is that if Protoss cannot expand here or here really, because this is too close to this kind of this region that Terran owns. I mean, if he were to expand here, in this area, pretty much all Terran have to do is unsiege and walk a few centimeters across the screen, siege up, and blast the Nexus. So right now, what are Legendary's options right now? As we can see, OOV is taking a lot of the map. Well, the answer to this difficult solution, this difficult strategic brain problem, is to get arbiters or to get shuttles, as we can see here, and to recall over here or to drop units inside your opponent's base. As we can see, the majority of the Terran units are positioned right here, and Terran units are much stronger in stationary position when they're sieged up. These tanks, the tanks that look like this, the ones that are like kind of looking up, they have like little elephant trunks sticking out of them. If you're a noob and you don't know what I'm talking about, they cannot move, but they have very long range. They can shoot like this far, man. They can kick some ass. But they can't move. So what he's going to do is he's going to take these shuttles over here, and you need to move your shuttles, Legendary, move them. Okay, there we go. The time is of the essence in this game, and I think those few seconds might cause a bit of a problem. Now OOV already is prepared for this, and I think due to the location of this turret, unless he can pick this turret off, he will not be able to evacuate his units back out of here. Okay, all right, and he will. He's going to use these Dragoons to try to pick off some bikes, but unfortunately, this attack, which was going to be focused on this expansion up here, it will be ineffective, I'm afraid. Now, we're now going to see that Legendary's in a little bit of a difficult position right now, as OOV has like every every expansion possible right now, and is using them, and he's using this expansion. I don't believe he's mining from this one, and that is simply because he doesn't want to spend too much more money on SCVs. He's focusing on getting max. What he's really interested in getting right now is this gas geyser. The more gas he can get, the more tanks and Goliaths he can produce. And as we can see, many tanks and Goliaths he has. The dropship now going down here. Now it's OOV's turn to do a little bit of harassment. We see that the cannons here are intentionally put up here to interfere with the possibility of a dropship coming in here. Legendary it seems a little bit shook up right now. I'm not sure if he's doing too well right now. Oh wait, but we see a recall over here. He is recalled into this expansion. Very sexy by him. Goliath drop going on over here. OOV scrambling to get these units. Now note this. What I believe would be, he has a lot of guys, actually. It's hard for me to say who's going to win this. He does not have enough mana for a stasis, or perhaps it's not researched. However, he will push OOV's forces back, then retreating up this ramp, he will punish the next expansion. It's getting into a very interesting game. Now the question that I'm asking myself right now is: did OOV expand too much? Did he get a little bit too greedy right now? Now the reason why Legendary is not rushing right towards the Nexus, he wanted to delay the push. He wanted to force tanks to siege because this ramp acts as like a filter right here. So he's gonna use that and kind of hold off this rush. And then the goal here right now is to get as many SCVs as possible. Meanwhile, Legendary will be continuing to produce. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention he did save that expansion. And he will be continuing to produce as many units as possible, continuing to produce arbiters out of these starports. And he's going to be using these arbiters to continuously recall into his opponent's main. Another recall over here, very sexy, will get in the way of OOV's expansion. This will make it very difficult. Now OOV perhaps thinking to himself, did I expand too much? Was this the right decision? Will this cost me the game? And remember, right now Legendary is down one game. But it looks like, yes, it does look like he will get this command center. That'll be 2 command centers down for OOV, as well as a bunch of dead SCVs. It's going to be a difficult situation for him. However, this does not mean that he cannot pull back from this OOV. I was watching Draco play OOV earlier, and oh my god, they're so good. I mean, you guys got to download those replays when you guys get back, because they will like change your life. The games were so good. I'm almost hoping that they're going to let me cast that replay tomorrow, because like I can't even believe what an intense series of games they were. Right now, we're seeing these tanks basically Legendary, rather than taking his units immediately and attacking this, he's forcing his opponent to waste more time. And will this be a recall over here? Yes, it will be. Yet another recall. Stopping OOV. As we can see, the top right quadrant of the map is it cannot be used right now. it's not possible for OOV. And what does that mean right now? Well, that means that OOV has to turn around and harass his opponent and stop his opponent from mining from this expansion. Hopefully he can unsiege here and then siege back up here and be in range of getting this this Nexus. However, Legendary is returning right now to take care of that very possible that thing that could happen. And right now we're seeing that OOV is having to divide his forces. He has to keep some things over here, else the Protoss could simply run over him and then kill these two expansions, which is what Legendary wants. But of course, both the players know that neither of them are going to fall for that trick, even though that trick is a highly advanced technique used in this game. Neither of them will be doing anything like that. Instead, what is going to be going on right now is Legendary is going to continue to be recalling over here, forcing his opponent to not mine from these resources, and eventually that will hopefully, for the sake of Legendary, push his opponent back and possibly weaken his economy enough that later on he will run over him this game. Because, you know, every second counts in a game like StarCraft, and that's why this game's so good, is because it's just so intense, and there's so many things going on. There's literally, you cannot play a perfect game of StarCraft. It very rarely happens. However, hold that thought. This Arbiter is kicking Probe ass right now, and this is going to hurt Legendary very badly. Right now, we're going to see that, you know, if he's losing this many probes, and 2 dropships coming in here, probably full of tanks right now. I'm not sure. I could be wrong, but that would make sense. God, I'm good. They were full of tanks. That's awesome. All right, and it looks like what's going to happen here is OOV, unable to regain this expansion, must instead counter. Now remember, there's a ramp here, and that makes it very difficult for units to move up. So what's going on right now is both players are using airstrikes, basically, to bombard their opponent's base, to slow his opponent's economy down as well. Now in this case, I think, well, no, now we see that Legendary again has responded to this by pushing down here and attacking this expansion. And we also see another recall over here into the next expansion over here. Very nice by Legendary. Now remember, if the Arbiter is here, everything underneath the Arbiter is invisible. That means that every second, OOV must take a scanner and scan that location to see the units that are attacking, and that scanner only lasts for a few seconds. So on top of all the micro, the macro, the strategy, there will be a lot of scanning that OOV has to juggle in between all of the tasks of which he is multitasking right now. However, Legendary is not in a good position right now because he is not mining from this expansion. And also he is getting, I think at this point in time, OOV's macro is just like so out of control good right now. Remember, he already has this expansion, this one, and finally this one, although there are not a lot of SCVs there. There are not a lot of probes here either, so they kind of cancel each other out in a way. Right now we're kind of seeing that OOV seems to be the superior player on the level of macro. I can't even imagine the multitude of tasks at which he is switching in between in his head right now. It's out of control, and this is what I was talking about earlier. OOV has calculated every occurrence in this game and has now decided that at this moment he has perhaps out macroed his opponent Legendary. But another recall will occur over here into this expansion. Now remember, this is a full push over here, which means that all of OOV's units are getting pulled down over here. And what that means right now, EMP on the God, these guys are so good. EMP on the Arbiters. However, what he can do is take all these units and begin to attack the rest of OOV's expansions. So basically what we're seeing right now, which is pretty exciting, by the way, is both players are throwing all of their units at each other. However, at the same time neglecting any sort of defense right now. So we're seeing, again, the Zealots, Dragoons, and Arbiters rushing over here to get OOV's expansion. Meanwhile, we're seeing that Legendary, he's going to have to produce a lot of DTs out of this. Well, actually, forget DTs. He's got a vessel there. He's going to have to produce a lot of units to hold off this expansion right now. And it's not clear if he's going to be able to do it or not. OOV seems to be preoccupied right now with attempting to save this expansion. I don't know if it's going to burn down or not. It's slowly withering away. We're seeing that carriers right now with the company of Arbiters are attacking this fort that we had over here. Stasis over here on this. Ooh, the freeze beam manage to take. Actually, Legendary could come back and win this. He just has to make. Well, no, maybe he couldn't. But well, I'm not sure actually. It's kind of a tough call because right now, I right before I said that, I did not see all these tanks coming over here and getting the last foothold that Legendary had on this map. But what is also important to note is that right now OOV can't concentrate the full level of his force on his opponent right now, simply because there's so many recalls going on over here. Just so you guys know, the stuff in the crystals, they're frozen there. They cannot be attacked, they cannot be killed, but they also cannot do anything, and that thing lasts for a while. So many times you have your opponent's army by stasising half of them and then killing that half and then waiting and killing the other half. Once again, Legendary flying over here with these carriers and picking off a lot of tanks right now. It looks like Legendary is not in a good position right now. He literally has no expansions, and OOV has these two over here. And as long as he has these two expansions, although they are becoming closer and closer to being diminished right now, what is important to note is that, okay, he's going to recall back out and go back into a defensive position. Legendary knows he needs to get his life together right now, and he needs to get a Nexus up over here if he wants any opportunity to possibly come back and win this game. Right now, I would say that the percentage of Legendary winning is very slim, but that does not mean that something can't happen. I've seen people bounce back from nothing in this game, and perhaps we'll see something like that happen up here. Instead of using those ground forces, I'm not sure exactly what he's doing right now. My guess is that he's going to fly these carriers over here and then perhaps recall on his main, but I don't know. I could be wrong. What do I know? I'm just a lowly StarCraft observer. And right now we are seeing that more and more carriers are getting pulled over here. This is all right. Now we see that. Excuse me. Now we see that the carriers are attacking this over here, and I think I was right. I think he will be recalling in here. However, notice the number of mines right now that have been placed over here. That will be a death trap if Legendary is to recall into that. Instead, OOV attempting to put pressure and stop that possible recall into his main. He will come over. Oh, that would be a really good thing to stasis right now. I wonder if he'll do that. Right now, what we're seeing right now is OOV attempting to throw everything at his opponent to force him from possibly recalling into his main. Right now, the tank's sieging up. Oh, he actually did manage to push that back quite a little bit, and all those tanks will be freezing. Ooh, that was pretty cool. And that's going to make it very easy for the Dragoons to push in here right now. EMP shot on the carriers right now, and right now, another stasis right now. If Legendary can actually push through here and get and actually somehow break this, although I'm not sure if he's going to have enough forces to muster the endless stream of units that OOV is coming out here. GG. It was a very good game, and Legendary was playing very well back there. Definitely an exciting game. I just think OOV was able to multitask too many things too quickly, and because of that, basically, he wasn't able to deal with all of the things that were occurring in that game. A very exciting game, though. That means that OOV will be in the finals right now. I have not been told the results of the other game, Midas versus Jelizerg, but what I can say is the finals for this WCG are turning out to be very, very exciting. Thank you, everybody, for showing up and watching this, and thank you, everybody at home, for tuning in, and thank you, WCG, for supporting StarCraft, the best freaking game ever made.